Pastor Suzy Antoun, daughter of the Most High, from rivers of living water.
The Antichrist is already in the valley.
That's from long time. So today, I'm just going to preach something which I didn't want to preach about it from long time. I start to know about it through Pastor Antoinette, and hopefully she will join us soon. And then I studied it, but there comes something into my reading which make me challenged to write that, because it's going to be new on the ear of everyone. Whatever your background, I'm not trying to attack any kind of, faith. Yeah. But I want to put something that the church is not very aware of it. This is here the prophecy, as you can see the picture, that prophecy 37. Yeah, the two stick. Do you know what is this two stick, Pastor Sam?
I read it, but
all right, this is the two stick, the prophecy 37 of Ezekiel. The Lord said to Ezekiel to get a stick and write on it Judah, or yes, Judah. And on the other stick, he spoke to him about Joseph. And he put them into your hand, and they're going to be united in one. And I was just looking, where is that unity between, and who are, in the beginning, I didn't know whether there is a difference between Judah and Israel. I didn't know about those stories. When she started to talk to me about you're Jewish, I started to dig and read about things, and God gave me one day a teaching which I first started to understand. The word of the Lord is speaking to the Judah and Israel. When he speaks about Israel, and he said the same thing to Judah and then Israel. If he's speaking about Judah, he's speaking about the 2.5 tribes. If he speaks to Israel, he's speaking about the 10 lost tribes.
Yeah.
If you heard that word before,
yeah.
Are you aware of it?
Yes, 10 lost tribes.
Yes, I've never heard of that before. New Zealand and the Maori say lost tribe. What are you talking about? I never knew about that. But when you study, this our sister she didn't like the history, but it's all in the history to bring the future. We're talking here about the King Solomon, which is the son of David. After he received the kingdom, he grew in a way very huge, very rich. But then come next to him, after him, his son. And that son didn't really use the wisdom. He asked the elders and he asked the young one. He went to the advice of the young ones, and he did it wrong. He wanted to put more taxes than his father. And the people say, well, we should follow, the son of Jesse, we're leaving. So they left. And who left is only the tribe of Judah, who stayed with him, and Benjamin. And of course the tribe of the Levites, because half of it with them, because they have the law. They stay with him, that are the servant of the temple. And the 10 tribe left. And they get another Yorbaam, Rohbaam, this is their name in Arabic. Yeah, whatever you call them, it's two different kings. And Yorbaam and Rohbaam, so two different kings. And the land of Israel is divided, and since then they never reunite again. Problem is the guy who get the 10 tribes, which is Samaria. If you call Ephraim, if you call Samaria, if you call Joseph, he's talking about those 10 tribes who's been separated, and they don't follow Jerusalem anymore. They're not after the son David kingdom and whatever. So this is very important for us, because this is gonna unlock a lot of secrets when you read the word. You think it's, he's talking to them. No, it's not them. They're two different people. It's like you talk to the Australian Aboriginal, or you talk to the Australian, the community, white, whatever. And the same, like you talk to Egyptian Christian, you talk to Egyptian Muslim. It's two different talk to different people, to different destiny. And if you're not aware, like I was not aware, then you probably missed a lot of things. Maybe later there is a guy who preached, he was a Christianized. He was a Jew from Europe, from Western Europe. And then he met Christ, and then he keeps studying about this, they have heritage, they have things that and he said, I'm sorry, he returned to his Judaism, and he didn't regret it. And the reason is, the Christian church don't have an answer for the Jewish things. No one has an answer for the Jewish things. And why we have to care about the history? What her name, the sister who was with us, very upset that we speak about the kings.
Irene?
No, the one, the Armenian lady.
Nevada?
Yeah, she was very sad, and that was, she don't wanna. I don't wanna hear that. I wanna preach the gospel. Yeah, go preach the gospel. But here we dig deeper into things that we don't preach usually into the churches. And if they're known, the church will be afraid to preach such things. So we're here a free group to meet together. So the guy said, the church do not have an answer. What happened here? The church replaced the Jews in all the good promises. So every good promise, the church claim it for themselves. Any bad chastisement or a curse or, I will do that to you, they put them for the Jews. We don't want to do with it. But the reality is, and the separation, when I study more carefully, because this has been like 2 years now, I study that more and more. And what make me, because in the end of the day, Apostle Paul said, if you are Jews because of Christ, we are the real seeds of Abraham. We are the spiritual children of Abraham. So who cares if you are the spiritual child of Abraham by faith or by flesh, by nature? It doesn't matter as long as you have the pathway through Christ, and the only Christ who can make you son of Abraham. So here it's, I logged into, it's called, if you have an internet, please go and read that. It's written, the House Theology. House Theology. And it's into the Wikipedia. And when I start to read it, really here it hit me so hard. And I said, I'm gonna preach about that finally, because I gathered a lot of information, historical and whatever. So what is the House Theology? That's separation between the two kings. And the king who came on the 10 tribes, he was very, very clever. He said, you know what? They have the temple. And they will have a desire to go sometime and do sacrifice. And when they do the sacrifice, their heart will go back to David. And I don't want to have that. So for this to happen, he started to make a big abomination. He allowed them to have on the top of the mountains altars, and they start to go for a religion of more of the land. So Canaan was the land and that religions on that time. So everyone has his religion, and they never return. And you read always the story of the kings in the book of Kings and Chronicle, which is a repeated story. And he's telling about, oh, this king follow Abraham from all his heart, and David and the other didn't. So story, king after king, he report that, and that's very important. But some of them went into the idolatry in a way like really horrible. And then prophet after the other. Yeah, I'm glad that he's here, because Antoinette will know. Can you open from here?
Yes.
Thank you, Lord, for the technology. And this is the story here of
That's okay. So good.
Alfie. We're happy that you're here.
Okay.
You can serve yourself. Come. Do you know how to put the water inside? You sure you know? Because there is a way to get hot water.
Probably.
Pastor Sam can show you.
Yeah.
Because
Bring
serve
your
yourself,
water
take
and
whatever you want. Go and see how he do the Alfie. Go with him and see how he put the hot water.
Next time.
Yeah. So here is the secret, like the people went into paganism in a very, very hurtful way. One after the other of the prophets of the old come and give them warning, but they don't want to return to the Lord. So the warning came from Ezekiel and from Jeremiah, very, very precise. Then there will be judgment, like he said, but that's not a petit judgment. It's really big judgment. And then here is the king of Assyria. The Assyrian king came and took all the area of Samaria, which are the 10 tribes. I want the guys to listen to this, because this is a key in everything you read and every relationship, and you have to know who you are and where you belong to. So come Pastor Sam.
Yeah, the other people are going to die in many judgment.
I'm shocked,
We're going to die of shock.
because they won't know it's a correction of the sin. People will know it's sin. It's like same-sex marriage. People think it's nothing wrong.
Yes.
But, God finds it very
That's
wrong.
it.
So that's Sodom and Gomorrah,
They will see.
all over.
Of course.
Muslim will see. Thank you. It's a,
So we're talking here about a very interesting subject, and it's called the two-house.
Jews will wake up.
The two-house theology. In the Wikipedia, go and read about it. It's talking in details about things happening through Jewish culture. When I read it, I decided to speak about that subject. And here we're talking about the house of David was divided into not his grandson, not Solomon, the son after. They were divided in 10 tribes, and it divided into 2 other tribes to continue to be with David. And from that time, they were never reunited again. We have here that stick in prophecy of 30. We're repeating for you, Elfie.
Yep.
I'm trying to get the.
Yeah, I'm listening.
These 2 stick, one of them for Judah and the other one for Joseph or Ephraim, whatever you call him. It's the same thing. And he put them in his hand, and they're united. When the Jews will be united with, the 10 tribes will be united to the 2. It never happened in the history. Jews are denying it, and we're going to talk about it later. But this is a prophecy which is yet to come. Then the 2 houses will be united, and God's glory will be there. So, no, because this cup will come for Pastor Antoinette. Put it on the box. Yeah, or leave it in your cup, because she will have a new cup. So the prophets came and give some warning after the other, and they didn't listen to the warning of the prophet. Come the king of Assyrian king, the Assyrian, and that name is given to the Antichrist, the Assyrian. So they may have a blood of Assyrian in him. And he came and he invaded all the 10 tribes, Samaria, which is the capital, and all those people that were taken off. And they took them and exchanged them. You heard that from me a few times. They happened an exchange. So those ones who are in Samaria, they went into Assyria, and we call Assyria is Iraq and Syria. These 2 people, people who speak Assyrian, they're deported. And this is very important. Mark that one, please, and read it for yourself. It's the 2nd King, chapter 17, and probably verse 24. They were deported. It means those one were taken there, and the people of Assyria, they came, and there were replacements for them. 2nd King, I want you to write that, because this is the key of what we're talking about. 2nd King, first or 2nd King, chapter 17, and verse 24. I have to really say it as a story for you guys, because I have a lot to say, and if make it in Arabic. Yeah, can you read, Pastor Sam? So this is the king of Ashur.
2 King chapter 17.
Verse 24. Highlight that one, is important.
Then David went to...
Not David,
No.
during the first king.
The king of Israel ruled.
Yeah,
2 King... Oh,
2 Kings chapter 7,
read it if you have it.
chapter 17.
The king of Ashur, he came from Babel, and he took Hamas and Sifran and whatever. He took the people of the Samaria, and he instead of the people of Israel. So those one were occupying Samaria, and the other one was occupying to the other place. Read it, please.
17, 24.
That's 2 Kings. Yeah.
Then the king of Assyria...
No, the one that is 23.
23.
Yeah. But you read the whole story, okay?
Okay. Until the Lord removes Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets. So Israel was carried away from their own land to Assyria.
Israel, when he say Israel, put in your mind, he's talking about the 10 tribes. Always put that in your mind. So what happened? They took Israel from his land to Ashur to this day. Read it again. Till this day. And the word of God is, I don't have it. If we say to this day, it means when it was written, it means today. There is no history showing that this is being reversed. So read it again. Till this day. When I read
Israel was
first,
carried away from their own land to Assyria, as it is this day.
You see? So the 10 tribes were deported to Assyria till this day. I was reading that prophecy, no one told me about it, and it stopped me because I believe into the letter.
Yeah.
Whatever is said in the Bible is the letter. It's
Yes,
happened
sir.
exactly as it said. So I started to say, you know, me is like the people who are Assyrian. That's before I start to meet the people of into my clinic of Fairfield, that these people are the real original Jews. And day after they found more of their names on Jewish. What do you mean this? And they tell me Abdisho. What do you mean Abdisho? It means Abdallah. It means the servant of Ishu's God. And I felt like, oh my God, you know, more and more. And Sholaiman and Moshe and all the more names of the Jewish Moses, you know, and I didn't really know that. The Lord showed me this and I started to follow that. So what happened here? This never revert. So I'm talking to the Jews now. I'm talking to the Jews through the internet. If there is a Jews who are really, really faithful to God and they want the promise of God to come upon your country, you better take those people back to Israel. Because these are the 10 tribes. These are the original Jews. The people of Assyria. If you ask anyone around the world now, who are the 3 more discriminated nations that you can think of on the world, who are you gonna say?
Syrian.
Assyrian?
Yeah.
Huh? Iraqi?
Iraqi,
Egyptian?
yeah.
Egyptian?
I don't know about the Egyptians.
They're very persecuted. We are proud of being called the nation of the 1,000 martyrs.
Yes.
Egypt was a Christian nation and kill. The Muslim multiply. And then think Egypt is a Muslim nation. Egypt was never a Muslim nation. And Egypt will have a very good, important role. We talk about it into the prophecies right now, but in time. So here is the main thing. If they, instead of going and searching for the very clever Russian, for atomic powers and you know, all those genius scientists, people, and from American, and they take people from
China's.
Eritrea, Eritrea, which is Nigeria. Why are they gonna get those black people over there? Because they're gonna have the influence on the Nile. They're closing the Nile as the prophecy of the word of God. So they're taking them. There is probably some of them from that area because of the Solomon and the King Sheba. But mainly, when we're gonna read now, at least have 5 verses about this most discrimination nation are the people of God. He called them back into the end time. And none of them, N-O-N-E, none of them know that they have any things to do with the Jewish culture or anything. Because the word of God, you know, say that they will be going without king. They're gonna be very idol worshiper in a way, like they will not know their identity anymore. And when you tell them they're enemy, we were raised to be enemy to the Jews. And the same.
The Ethiopians, last time they go back,
I said about the Ethiopian, they bring them back because they wanted to get the Nile, because Ethiopia, then Sudan, then Egypt. That Nile should be dried up, and the Euphrates River should be dried out as well. That's the end time prophecy. So Israel is trying to build a dam which is already is already done. Yeah, this is the second biggest river. I don't want to go for that, but because there is very important teaching about that. So we go back. So here, until the day it means it's never. Yes.
Sorry. So after God showed Moses, after he delivered them from Egypt, what happened to Egypt?
Egypt?
Yeah.
Well, this is here, Egypt is very hated among the whole Bible stories because of the Christian Zionists, I'll call them.
Yeah.
The Americans keep talking, you know, and we're gonna talk about what Israel, who are the real Jewish and who are not the real Jewish. But this people, go with me because I'm gonna explain more than you think. But here what happened, Egypt was never, if you really read carefully the Bible and see who looked after Jesus into the massacre, who looked after him?
So God didn't.
Just answer me, who did?
Egyptian.
The Egyptians. So Jesus probably was speaking in year 1, year 2 of his age, Egyptian words, right? And he said, bless my people. And I'm not defending because I'm Egyptian, no. I always thought that we are the pharaohs who are anti-God, and I'm not trying to defend my nation. I'm talking Bible, with Bible verses, with proof. Second thing, who birthed Israel? Who protects, time and time they descended to Abraham a few times, and his son, they go as a refuge in Egypt. But God don't want them to depend on Egypt. And the pharaohs here, he don't want to leave this because he know that those people have a lot of things. But one day I read that someone wrote in the internet that the birth of Israel was in Egypt. Why God took them to Egypt? They were born as a nation over there, and they learned from the things. So a lot of things happening bad in Egypt and good in Egypt, but Egypt is a land, I'm gonna talk good about it. I'm gonna talk about it good. Not because I'm Egyptian, because my husband, saying I'm not faithful to my country, but it's not true. Here I have a very good question, but please don't read the answer on the screen. Why God chose Abraham? But we're gonna talk about that later. Egypt is not a bad nation. Even into the end time prophecy, when the nations will come against Israel, Egypt is not there. Even the American Zionists speak differently, So why God select Abraham?
Because he found him a righteous man.
Yeah, any other answer?
I heard the other day that he chose his father, but his father wasn't faithful.
That's what according to the Bible.
God told him to go to a certain place, but he
His father's
stopped
a
at
bush
somewhere. He stopped along the way where his son had died,
Yes.
and he didn't go any further. So then God chose Abraham.
Anyone want to add something? Read Alfie then. Read. I love this verse. It makes me
That's
very...
the first I heard of that. He chose
Yeah,
his
this
father.
is good.
Yeah, he chose his father first, and then he chose Abraham. His
Yes,
father-
yeah.
Father didn't follow through.
Bravo, this is gonna put light on that verse now. Try that verse with what you said. You're gonna make more light. Read it, please.
Yeah, Genesis chapter 18, verse 19.
18:19. Genesis 18:19. We wanna learn that verse.
For I know him that he will command his children and his household after him. And they
Stop
shall-
here. Stop here.
Yeah.
Why God won't select him? Because he will commend his children and his household after him. Yeah, keep reading.
And they shall keep the way of the Lord,
Yes.
to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken.
So he select that man, even his father, didn't follow the things, but he selected him because he knew that in his heart he will make his descendants, his children, to follow the ways of the Lord.
Which scripture is that?
18:19.
18:19.
We want to learn that verse. Because I had that conversation with the Lord, and I said, Lord, I spoke the truth to my children from, the day one of their life till the day. And everyone wants his children to be with him when we go to, but the children of this generation are not into the things of God the way that we want it, no matter what you do. So what is the thing that Abraham did better than I do so I can do it? Every parents want Christ, come Lord Jesus. But you think, are my kids there? They know the Lord, they love him, but are they the way that you want them to be fully for the Lord? But Abraham, the Lord selected him because he will commend his children.
Amen.
Yeah, command in Arabic is more powerful.
He will command and teach.
Yes.
Command.
And his household after him. So when he passed, that his children will take the same
Take it
recommendation and do it. In Arabic, Yawsi, it means when I come and I say, listen, David, before I die, I want you to do this and this and this. So this is not command, it's just like my wish. Yeah, the very, very clear, that's an Arabic version. It's very powerful. So why, and you can see here, the Jews are continuing, if you see the picture, they get the young ones and they try to make them learn, and the responsibility is of the father. Responsibility is of the father to pass on, not the mother, like this generation. So here is things, into the heart of God. He loved Jerusalem. This is the city of the great king, and we're gonna talk about that. So to continue on the line, he got Abraham and he gave him a prophecy, and that prophecy was very hard because I didn't know ever that.
Jesus was in Zaytoun, wasn't he? Zaytoun in Egypt.
Yes,
Until he was 12.
yes. There is a pathway people go and see where Jesus were going. And Zaytun is where my husband, his grandfather is the priest of this
There was
place.
a big miracle there in 1965.
Yeah, where Mary appeared on the church is the next door church for them. The great-grandfather of my grandchildren is the priest over there. He built the church and their house is over there till the day. But anyway, the main thing is, I didn't know that the game is all about the blessing. Pastor Sam,
That the what?
all the game is about the blessing.
All the games of that blessing.
All the games around the world is about the blessing. If you're a preacher and you go, someone invite you to preach and say, I wanted to have a blessing, all the church will come to the front to have the blessing. I assure you, you're gonna have all good photos and sending you really good preacher. All is about the blessing. All is about the blessing. Now, people try to say, I am the inheritant of Abraham by flesh. Everyone is fighting on this. I didn't know. I didn't know. And the people who are really having the blood of the 10 tribes, they are not knowing this. So what happened after the 17, that chapter, 2 Kings of 17, you go into the chapter 24, read it for yourself later. Came the king, Jeremiah keep telling them, they didn't listen. So he tell them God will give more, not many judgment, a bigger judgment. And the temple was taken by
Egypt, by the
not the
Romans.
Egypt, not the Romans, by the Iraqi, by Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylon. Babylon came
Oh, yeah.
and took the whole thing.
Okay.
They took it all. And they took the elite of the people, the descendant of the royal blood, the one who are looking nice and strong,
Yes.
whatever,
Cyrus,
and took
yeah.
them, yes, and they, not Cyrus. Cyrus is Iran, is Persia. He is not, the Nebuchadnezzar is the king who is in Babylon. He took all the land and he sent the good ones left in Jerusalem now. He destroyed the temple. So the one who are taken now, they are not the 10 tribes. We talk about Israel, means the 10 tribes. We talk about Judah, is the 2 tribes and a half who followed the King David. Is there anyone confused about that part, or do you want to repeat it? Are you sure you understand? Because this is a key. When you go and read into any place into the Old Testament, if I talk to Judah, then to Israel. So he's talking to the
No.
2.5 tribes who have the Torah, who have the temple, and who have the descendant of Judah and David the king. And then he speaks to the other one who are kind of very lost. They lost even identity. They went into the idolatry in a way like horrible. So now the judgment come on the 2.5 tribes. Babylon came and they took the temple, they destroyed it. And they spread them and they took those and sent them to Iraq. So the people who are in Iraq, the people on Assyria are the 10 tribes. The people who are in Iraq are the 2.5 tribes. Later on in time, and then there be the remnant, the poor and the remnant people with the Jeremiah, and you read that into the last chapter of Chronicle and 25, and it's similar into the king. Go and read this. So 2 Kings 17, 24 and 25, go read them, and the cross-reference, which is the same story repeated again into the Chronicle. 17, 24, 25, speaking about where are those people scattered, exactly, and this repeated story into the Chronicle as well. So go cross-reference and read the story. With that light you will understand, but otherwise you probably found, it's one of those lost stories. What happened? Jeremiah took all the leftover, who are poor and whatever, into the land, and they went to Egypt. And probably Jeremiah was buried in Egypt, probably. And they never return again. They are the leftover. So there is some people who never return back again, and they are in Egypt. They're probably who are the Christian of the day, and they don't know. And if you say that to them, they're gonna be very angry, and they think you are
So that means
crazy.
before
So that's nothing to do, because everyone we talk about it, they know everyone about the story of Moses. And when Egypt, were there. This is a different era. This is in the book of the Kings, years after. This is Antoinette.
She got her hat on.
Open the door for her, please. Put the chair.
Help Antoinette. She's trying to bring something in.
It's her trolley.
Trolley bus.
She need a chair.
There's one
Yeah,
here.
okay.
There's one here.
Antoinette, you're here. You made it. See what we have here. See? And we have here this girl as well. She don't know that you're not coming.
You see there?
And we have this girl.
Want a coffee or tea?
What do you want?
What do you want?
Bring the water please for her and she make her own. Yes.
I'll get the water.
He will show you how to make the water. So next time everyone wanted to have a coffee or tea.
Fantastic. How are you?
Sister Antoinette, you gone viral now.
I'm so sorry.
You're preaching brother here.
Stick hormones. Cortisone for treatment.
Ah, okay. Look good. Lost a lot of weight.
She lost weight? Good. So Antoinette, it's because of you we are speaking today about the Jewish roots of the Christians. Huh? She's not listening. She was the one to keep convincing me of this, and it's because of her. We're talking today about the Jewish root of the Christians.
Oh, you brought it.
Yeah, that's for you. I said she will
I was
come
going
and
to bring my
give us this.
guitar.
Yeah, well, I said you're gonna get the
How
good
many
one.
people? I brought 5.
Thank you.
We can share.
Bless you, bless you.
Bless me with the water in the name of
Give
Jesus.
one each.
Bless you.
Whoever wants.
That's yours.
Thank you.
Sherry, I should have given one.
A cold cup of water will not return in void. You know, you have a.
Yeah,
And I
enough.
can share.
Alright, do you want us to take a little bit of rest and have some singing
Until
until she recovers?
Oh, where are you going to sit, brother?
Oh, there.
you sit there.
Having sugar.
Not for me. I'm okay. I brought my own water.
That's mine.
Oh, that's enough. Thank you. And just in the middle. Sugar.
So Antoinette, we are talking about how the Christian roots.
Once, plenty. Thank you. Oh, it's not.
What is how the Jewish culture was spread around the world? You know, the things that you taught me one day. So we are speaking about that subject today. All right? And we're
Innumerable. You can't count them. I just run into these people everywhere and I'm looking.
this lady, she can look at you and say, oh, you're a Jew, she can see them. And I say, what do you see in them? How do you know?
Said you ran into them every week.
Right in the
I
wall.
want you close to me here, all right? After you finish your coffee, you're gonna give us some music.
If I drink my coffee, I won't be able
I
to
don't
say
need to do
what
that.
is sweet in my
All right, do you wanna sing now? All right, we stop and do another session.
Interact with you.
No, well,
Sing.
we didn't do the sing.